Hello brothers and welcome back to another video. We are carrying on our 40k series called Rivalries. This time we are looking at the rivalry between the Space Wolves and the Thousand Sons. So let's jump in and let's get talking. Now, unlike the Iron Warriors, whose rivalry grew from their bitterness towards the glorious Imperial Fists, the Space Wolves and the Thousand Son rivalry grew from deception, lies and heresy. This tale is actually a very sad tale of two legions who could have absolutely outshone in the Imperium but ended up as deadly enemies. To understand this rivalry, we have to go to the core of the main issues, which is the Thousand Sons were a Psyker Legion and the Space Wolves were basically the Emperor's executioners. They were sent to do the tasks upon other legions the Emperor deemed to see unfit to carry on his imperial truth. Now, this harkens back to the Council of Nikaea, where the Emperor outright banned Psykers within the legions. Now, the Thousand Sons and their Primarch Magnus the Red were very troubled at the ruling of Nikaea because their legion was one of the biggest legions when it came to harbouring Psykers. Magnus the Red was the most powerful Psyker in the galaxy, bar the Emperor of mankind. So this ruling at Nikaea was a thorn in not only Magnus's side but in his legion's side, because when they become to perform their task, it was with their psychic prowess in battle. Now, shortly after the ruling of Nikaea, Horus, who was War Master at the time, was mortally wounded upon the moon of Davin. Later, this was all a part of the Ruinous plans to bring the War Master over to Chaos. Now, when he was mortally wounded, he was basically in a kind of a trance/coma, where the Chaos Gods themselves were corrupting him, showing him visions of what the Emperor was going to do, get rid of him and all the Primarchs once their task had been completed. Now, while this was taking place, Magnus was meditating on the planet of Prospero, home world of the Thousand Sons. He psychically foresaw Horus betraying the Imperium, the split of the legions, the civil war onto the Imperium. Magnus tried to stop this. He appeared to Horus in his corrupted vision, trying to bring him back to the side of the light, but it was too late. Horus had been corrupted by chaos, and the new path he was set on was to destroy the Imperium. Seeing this, Magnus gathered the most powerful sorcerers of the Thousand Sons and psychically projected himself towards Terra to warn the Emperor. Thus doing so, he broke through into the Imperial Palace in a psychic form, breaking the seals on the Imperial Palace and breaking the Golden Throne, which the Emperor had been working on to bring humanity to the next stage of evolution. The Emperor was not pleased with the actions of Magnus, one, for breaking the Golden Throne and potentially ruining the future of mankind, and secondly, breaking the edict of Nikaea. For his actions, the Emperor contacted the Space Wolves and their Primarch Leman Russ. He ordered them to go to the planet of the sorcerers and bring back Magnus to answer for his crimes. Now, this is where the betrayal comes into the story. While Leman Russ and his legion of the Space Wolves were en route to the planet of the sorcerers to bring back Magnus for his actions, they were contacted by War Master Horus. Leman Russ did not know that the War Master had fallen to chaos, and Horus had different orders to give Leman Russ. Instead of bringing his brother Magnus back in chains to answer for his actions, Horus told Leman Russ to destroy his brother, to destroy the planet and the Legion of the Thousand Sons. Horus knew that if his plan was to work, the only real legion that could cause him massive problems was the Legion of the Thousand Sons and Magnus, because their psychic ability to combat chaos was a true threat. And so began the fall of Prospero, when the Space Wolves rained down fire upon the perfect city of the Thousand Sons. all the information they gathered, their imperial amazing structures which they had built over the centuries upon their knowledge, began to burn and wither away. Now, at the start of the battle, Magnus the Red did not take to the field to fight the Space Wolves. He felt that the actions of this retribution fleet sent by the Emperor was too much for what he thought was just warning his father of betrayal. Of course, Magnus didn't know the change of orders, nor did Leman Russ know that the War Master had been corrupted. Finally, after more of the city started to burn and more of his sons started to die, Magnus took to the field to fend off the Space Wolves. Magnus began to push the Space Wolves back using his great psychic gifts, but it wasn't long before Leman Russ found his brother and challenged him to a duel upon the burning planet. Now, Magnus was able to hold his ground against Leman Russ for some time, but we can't forget that Leman Russ is one of the most powerful Primarchs when it comes to combating not only his brother Primarchs, but beings of similar power in the Warhammer universe. Now, Magnus was able to knock out one of Leman Russ's hearts, but in doing so, left himself open for a counterattack. Leman Russ then grabbed his brother's arm, temporarily blinded him, which stumbled Magnus. Magnus was then lifted above the Primarch's head and brought down upon Leman Russ's knee, breaking Magnus's back. Leman Russ had defeated Magnus. He was about to give the killing blow and rid the galaxy of the Thousand Sons and their Primarch once and for all. In his greatest hour of need, Tzeentch appeared before Magnus and offered him a way to save not only himself, but his legion from utter destruction. But to do so, Magnus had to give his soul to Tzeentch and his legion's soul to forever serve the Chaos God and his agenda in the wars to come. Now, before Leman Russ could do the killing blow upon his brother Primarch, Tzeentch whisked him and the Thousand Sons to a new planet deep within the Eye of Terror, where they would be safe. Leman Russ, seeing that he was robbed of victory, swore vengeance not only upon Magnus the Red, but vengeance upon the legion of the Thousand Sons as well. So began one of the greatest rivalries that we will know when it comes to Space Marines, between the Space Wolves and the Thousand Sons. The Thousand Sons themselves swore vengeance against the Space Wolves. Much as Prospero was brought to ruin, they sought to do the same to the homeworld of the Space Wolves, Fenris. They wanted to bring fire, brimstone and retribution to destroy the planet, to destroy the chapter of the Space Wolves, much like the Thousand Sons were nearly destroyed during the days of the Horus Heresy. Throughout the 10,000 years since the Horus Heresy, the Space Wolves and the Thousand Sons have battled numerous amounts of times. One of the most interesting battles was called the Battle of the Fang. This took place in the 32nd millennium. By this time, Leman Russ had vanished as Primarch of the Space Wolves, but during this battle, Magnus himself ascended down to the planet of Fenris to bring death and destruction. Upon seeing a statue of Leman Russ, he had these words to say: "Do you remember what you said to me, brother? Do you remember what you said to me as we fought before the pyramid of Photep? Do you remember the words you used? I do. As I recall, your face was tortured. Imagine that, the master of wolves, his ferocity twisted into grief, and yet you still carried out your duty. You always did what was asked of you. So loyal, so tenacious. Truly, you were the attack dog of the Emperor. You took no pleasure in what you did. I knew that then, and I know that now. But all things change, my brother. I'm not the same as I was. And well, let's not mention where you are now. Thank you everyone for watching another video in the series of 40k Rivalries. Hopefully this has opened your eyes into one of the greatest rivalries when it comes to Space Marine chapters. If you would like me to cover certain rivalries in 40k, please suggest them down below in the comment section and I'll do my best to research and see what I can come up with. Once again, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back very, very soon with more videos covering different rivalries. See you now, and bye-bye.